Labadiena, herzlich willkommen in der hessischen Landesvertretung hier in Brüssel. Wir begrüßen Sie herzlich zu unserer Veranstaltung Europa nach den Wahlen. Litauen hat gewählt. Denn wenige Tage nach der Parlamentswahl steht das baltische Land vor einem Machtwechsel. Der Opposition ist es gelungen, die Mehrheit der 141 Sitze im Parlament in der Seimas zu erringen. Und nachdem mit Dalia Grybauskaite es bereits eine Präsidentin gab in Litauen, schickt sich jetzt mit Ingrida Šimonytė eine Frau an, Anspruch auf das Amt des Premierministers zu erheben. Aber es stellen sich natürlich Fragen, wird sie es schaffen, eine stabile Regierung zu bilden? Was bedeutet das auch für den europäischen Standpunkt Litauens? Und was bedeutet das auch für die wirtschaftliche Situation und gerade jetzt auch für die Corona-Lage? Das sind alles Fragen, die wir besprechen wollen. Wir können das aufgrund der Corona-Situation, insbesondere in Belgien, nur virtuell tun, aber Sie sind herzlich eingeladen, mit uns zu diskutieren und Ihre Fragen zu stellen. Sie können entweder anrufen unter der Nummer 0032 472 03 0181 oder Sie schreiben uns eine Mail unter streamline@lv-brüssel.hessen.de. So können Sie uns erreichen und sich gerne an unserer Diskussion beteiligen. Weil es eben eine virtuelle Veranstaltung ist und wir nur sehr dezimiert zusammenkommen können, sehen Sie deshalb jetzt bitte erst ein Grußwort der hessischen Ministerin für Europaangelegenheiten, Lucia Puttrich.
Sehr geehrte Damen und Herren, herzlich willkommen zur heutigen Livestream-Veranstaltung Litauen hat gewählt in unserer Reihe Europa nach den Wahlen. Im Juli hat unsere letzte virtuelle Veranstaltung in dieser Reihe zur Wahl in Kroatien stattgefunden. Damals hatte ich noch die Hoffnung, dass wir bald wieder live diskutieren können. Doch leider weit gefehlt. Die zweite Welle der Pandemie hat in Europa gehalten. Auch in Brüssel spitzt sich die Situation leider zu. Litauen ist in der ersten Phase der Pandemie einigermaßen glimpflich davon gekommen. Aber natürlich war der Umgang der Regierung mit der Corona-Pandemie und ihren wirtschaftlichen Folgen ein Top-Thema im Wahlkampf. Die litauische Wirtschaft ist eingebrochen, die Exporte sind gesunken, die Arbeitslosigkeit ist gestiegen. 2020 ist ein wichtiges Jahr in der Geschichte Litauens. Am 11. März konnte Litauen 30 Jahre seine Unabhängigkeit und Demokratie feiern. Für Litauen war diese Unabhängigkeitserklärung von 1990 ein Schritt auf dem Weg zu einer europäischen Integration und einer sicherheitspolitischen Anbindung an die euro-atlantische Partnerschaft in der NATO. Heute liegt Litauen in einem außenpolitisch spannenden Gebiet der EU. Russlands Enklave Kaliningrad ist der westliche Nachbar und im Südosten liegt Belarus. Ein Land, in dem eine mutige Opposition derzeit für Demokratie und Menschenrechte kämpft. Schwierige Partner für die EU und auch für die EU-Mitgliedstaaten, die direkte Grenzen mit diesen Ländern haben. Seit Montag ist klar, die Wahl hat zu einem deutlichen Sieg der Opposition geführt. Litauen steht deshalb vor einem Machtwechsel. Die Vaterlandsunion ist stärkste Kraft, muss sich aber noch Koalitionspartner suchen. Bereits am Wahlabend verkündete die Wahlsiegerin, künftig eine Mitte-Rechts-Regierung mit den Liberalen anzustreben. Wohin wird sich Litauen entwickeln? Waren die großen europäischen Themen, der EU-Haushalt, die Aufbauhilfen, die Rechtsstaatskonditionalität oder auch die Sanktionen gegenüber Russland und Belarus ein Thema im Wahlkampf? Heute wollen wir von unserem Gast, einem erfahrenen litauischen Journalisten, Evaldas Labanauskas, mehr erfahren. Über die Wahl, aber auch, wie er die anstehende Regierungsbildung und die Situation im Land einschätzt. Herzlichen Dank, dass Sie heute bei uns sind. Ich danke auch herzlich der Fernsehkorrespondentin im WDR-Studio Brüssel, Gudrun Engel, die mehrere Jahre in Litauen gelebt hat und das heutige Gespräch moderieren wird. Sehr geehrte Damen und Herren, Sie sehen, Litauen ist ein spannender Partner, Wer die Sendung verpasst hat, kann sie gern auch später auf unserem YouTube-Kanal anschauen. Ich wünsche Ihnen eine spannende und aufschlussreiche Veranstaltung und bleiben Sie gesund.
So now we're hoping to get all those answers from Evaldas Labanauskas. He is the Lithuanian journalist based here in Brussels. Unfortunately, he's the only Lithuanian journalist, but he's quite the expert. You can find his articles on the most read and most subscribed news website in the Baltics. It's Delphi, and it's the one where most of the political articles are read within Estonia, Latvia, and of course Lithuania. Evaldas has studied political science and also journalism in Vilnius, in Lithuania's capital, which has, by the way, one of the oldest universities within Europe, which dates back to the 1500s. So, before we have Evaldas' presentation, please remember that you can also take part in this discussion by giving us a call on +32 472 030181, or you just send a mail with your question on streamline@lv-brussel.hessen.de. And now we have a presentation on the current results of the elections by Evaldas. The floor is yours.
Thank you. It's great to be here. And thank you that you also join us. So I will begin from little explanation about Lithuania political system. Afterwards, we'll talk about main results of parliament elections and as well losers and winners. And in the end, I hope we'll discuss about what could we expect from the new government. So let's begin from Lithuanian political system. So Lithuania is a parliamentary republic with elements of semi-presidential republic. And every 4 years, we have parliament elections. This year, we had on October, and we have 2 rounds. One on 11th of October, and the second one last weekend, on 25th of October. Why do we have 2 rounds? Because our election system is mixed. So we have majority system and also proportional system. So in first round, people are voting for proportional representation for parties. At the same time, for some persons who are fighting for the seat in the parliament. The second round, it's only about majoritarian system. So let's look at the results of the first round. At first, I would like to say that parties in Lithuania are extremely unpopular, like they in the end of trust, if you will look at polls. But in first round, people are voting for the parties, as I mentioned. So what you can see is the results of proportional election, proportional voting. And if we compare this year and 2016, you can see that on the left corner, Conservative Party got the biggest amount of votes, biggest percentage of votes. But if you compare with 2016, it's only like 2% more than in 2016. At the same time, the second from the left is Farmers' Party, who was in government. She got a little bit less, but still less 5%. So it's not a big difference. And also I would like you to pay attention to Freedom Party, which is on the right, and it shows that this is new party. Before in 2016, it was not participating in elections. But I guess we'll talk a little bit more later about every party, as I mentioned, losers and winners. So, after second round of elections, we know exactly how many places every party have in the parliament. I haven't mentioned, but according to Lithuanian election law, by proportional system, we are electing 70 parliament members. By majoritarian system, we are electing 71. So in total, we have 141 members of parliament. And now look at results. So, as you can see, the blue down is TS-LKD. It is Lithuanian Conservative Party, and we got 50 votes. It's impressive. After coalition partners, hopefully coalition parties, LS, up, they got 13%, and Freedom Party, 11, not percent seats, and Freedom Party, 11 seats. Other parties, they should be in opposition. The Green, Farmers Party, till now was ruling party, but now they will go to the opposition. Other interesting things about election results. So we have, now in the parliament, we have 27% of women. It's not very big percentage, but still it's bigger than before, than in 2016. Average age of members of parliament is 49 years. It's also, the parliament is a little bit younger than before, and I guess mostly because of this Freedom Party, about which I will talk later. And we have also 60 new members, and as I mentioned, totally we have 141. So we can call it renovation of the parliament. Regarding turnout, it's not big. First round was 47.8%, and the second round it's only 38.95%. So, but it's not something unusual. Maybe later we'll have time to talk. Okay, let's now talk about biggest losers and biggest winners of the parliament election. So you see Social Democrat Party leader, Evaldas Labanauskas, and I would call him biggest loser, total loser. And why? This is the third election where he personally lost. And other thing, that's before he became a party leader, Social Democrats was one of the biggest and most powerful political power in Lithuania. Now we see that they have only 13 seats in new parliament. Let's go and we'll see very long name of a party. You can read it. In Lithuania, we kind of call them Polish party, but it's not true because now some experts call them just by the name of party leader Valdemaras Tomaszewskis. He is a member of European Parliament, and why they are losers? they were not able to pass 5% of the plank, which is mandatory for the parties. So they will not have a fraction in new parliament. And it is kind of, in some sense, it's a surprise because almost, honestly, I don't remember that this Tomaszewski's party was not able to form the fraction and to pass this 5% plank. Else, so this is farmers, Lithuanian Farmers and Greens Union, but they are more farmers than Greens, so they also can be called losers just because they were in government, and all the polls showed that they will get kind of the same amount of votes, but it didn't happen. The reasons, I guess, that especially people from bigger cities and young people were a little bit, not a little bit tired, but tired of restrictions. For example, in 2017 or 2018, in first years of the government, they introduced many restrictions on alcohol, and I don't think that it is a good idea, especially in Eastern European parts, to do so. So, and the winners. The winners are Conservative Party, Homeland Union, Lithuanian Christian Democrats. You can see party leader Gabrielius Landsbergis from famous Landsbergis family. He is a party leader, but he was a little bit not in the center of election. In the center of election was Ingrida Šimonytė. She should become a prime minister, but at the same time, she is not, I guess, still a member of the Conservative Party. So she is like freelancer or something. Well, if you come back, you see Prime Minister Saulius Skvernelis. He is also not in Farmers' Party. So it's something that could be interesting for people who are from other countries. Let's go next. Aušrinė Armonaitė, party leader, Freedom Party. So I think that this is the biggest surprise, because the party was formed like no more than a year ago, and they were very liberal, very young and active, and they got 11 seats. That's kind of very good result. But at the same time, I would like to mention another thing, that we have a tradition that every parliament election, we have a new political movement or party which gets some votes. In 2016, for example, Farmers' Party was an example of that tradition. They also won incredible amount of votes, just and at the same time nobody believed that they will win something. So I guess this is the last, no, not the last winner, the liberal movement. It's very old party, and they always collect some more than 5% of votes. Just in 2016, we had very huge crisis because the leader of the party at that time was caught by special state service when he took a bribe of 110,000 euros. And afterwards, party had a very, very bad time. But now we have a new leader, woman, Victoria Chmilytė-Nielsen, and they perform kind of well. And the last party who was able to pass this 5% blank is Labour Party. It's a typical populist party. They also had big problems regarding corruption. Just now, his leader, Viktor Uspaskich, who also is a member of European Parliament, came back to Lithuania and they won. This is phenomenon of this leader. Why? What is this? What is his secret? I don't know. Just for example, in elections, they are promised to give people money, and like every populist party. What is interesting that honestly, they don't have any ideology. It depends who will invite them to join coalition. If they will get invitation from Conservative Party or Liberal Party, they will be liberals. If they will get invitation from Social Democrats or Farmers Party, they will be on the left. And you can see three women, Ingrida Šimonytė, Viktorija Čmilytė-Nielsen, Aušrinė Armonaitė. So they will form the government. And now negotiations is going. What can we expect from this government? And yes, I forgot to mention, this will be the first time when, no, not first time, but first time when coalition leaders are three women in Lithuania. And what to expect? New economic crisis. Why I mention it? Because it is also Lithuanian tradition. Well, when Conservative Party is coming to the power, we always have a crisis. It was in 1999, it was in 2008, and so on. Less populistic and more liberal economy. Yes, because Conservative and Liberal and Freedom Party, they are more in economical terms on the right. Same-sex marriage, liberalization of the light drugs. Yes and no, because Freedom Party promised that if they will get elected, they will legalize all those things. But on Conservative Party, there are some fraction which is more conservative and not opposing to such policy. The last one is more active foreign policy. It depends on personality, but if candidates from Conservative Party will be able to take foreign minister post, then I think that we'll see little bit different Lithuanian foreign policy, but not totally different. It will still be pro-European, pro-American, anti-Russian, well, it's not anti-Russian, anti-Kremlin politic. and anti-Lukashenko politic. At the same time, Ostrovets will stay in our foreign policy agenda. I guess that's it.
Thank you, Evaldas, for all this interesting input. We will deepen that a little in our discussion. We already got some questions. Please be assured they will not be forgotten. We'll try to structure the discussion in 3 parts. So we'll talk about internal affairs first, and we'll talk about the connection to Europe, and then we'll give a short outside on that. So we learned a lot. Now you will have 3 women in the lead, and 27% of the members of parliament in Seimas. But the voter turnout was very low. Let's say probably not for Lithuania, but compared to other European countries, it was 39% in the second round and a little bit higher on the first. Why are Lithuanians not engaging so much in the elections? I mean, you have your independence for 30 years. We should think that it's important for Lithuanians to go and give a vote. So why is the turnout so low?
Well, one explanation could be that politics, and as mentioned, political parties are very unpopular in society. Another explanation also could be that those 4 years, last 4 years, when Lithuanian Farmers' Party was governing, it was not so bad time. So mostly people go when they have like emotion, they hate something, vote against something, or vote for something. And now, I guess Lithuania lives in the best years through all the history of Lithuania.
That brings us to the economic situation. You just mentioned that always when there was a change in power in Lithuania, and it is again now, that economics going down.
Yes.
Right now, we all struggle with the corona crisis also. So how do you expect, or what is the biggest impact? Why do you expect a crisis?
Well, if we look at the results from lockdown in the spring, it was not so bad as we expected, especially in Lithuania. I guess it's now a question, will it grow a little or it will be down this year economy? And if you compare with other countries, Germany, Belgium and other, it's really good. But now, as economists make some prognosis, it seems that the second wave can be more dangerous for Lithuanian economy, and especially, and there are another thing that before the elections, the ruling coalition was like throwing money easily. They pretended that it's fighting against COVID results, but still it was election campaign. I think so. So anyway, I just wanted to say that it's my personal opinion. It's not official. I am subjective in this.
But what strikes me is that there is not really a right wing or right extremist party. You have a lot of parties,
yes,
but there's not really an extremist one. And normally, in times of crisis, people turn to the wings, either or. So, but why don't you have a right-wing party?
Good question. We have in the election, as I guess I mentioned, that we had 17 parties, and I guess 3 of them pretended to be right-wing extremists. They had the slogan, "The end of liberals, the beginning of Christianity," something like that, but they didn't pass. They don't have any candidate. Why? very good question. Maybe one question, one answer would be that in this Conservative Party, they, from the history of that party, they always were in the right. And now they do have this, simply two fractions. One is more on the right, another more liberal center. But still, they able to get those nationalistic votes and so on. This is my explanation, I guess. But still,
but that brings us to the European level. Yes. So this new coalition, this new party and the more conservative party, does that like add a new color or shine a new light on the relations with the European Union? Does it change anything?
In principle, no, I don't think, because Lithuania are one of the biggest supporters of European Union, and just as I mentioned at the end of presentation, it depends on personalities. I mean, who will come Minister of Foreign Affairs? And I think, I don't have, but I think that there are 3 candidates, and all of them are from this right fraction of Conservative Party. So what could I expect? At first, it can be a conflict with the president, because as I mentioned, we are parliamentary republic with a semi-president, and it's not clear who should show the way in foreign policy terms. So, for example, every council, most, I guess, all, well, exception Macron, all countries sending prime ministers, and Lithuania sending president. So maybe in this sense we can expect changes. On the other hand, as I mentioned, that personalities, and it could be more right-wing foreign policy. So.
But speaking of personalities, we don't know so many Lithuanian politics, to be honest, but we were all very aware of your Minister of Foreign Affairs when it comes to the crisis in Belarus, because he was very straightforward in welcoming the opposition leader and also asking for strict sanctions on Belarus. And he had really a voice when the ministers met in Berlin. And up until that day, to be honest, he was one amongst others, and then he really raised his voice. So why are you, as Lithuanians, so interested in the situation in Belarus? Because it's a neighbor, or because you have been through the whole situation like 30 years ago? What is your connection there?
I think the first point would be like we are neighbors, and we are totally different, but we have a common history from 11th maybe century or 12th century. We had this common state and so on and so on. Another thing, it's security situation. We don't feel safe near Belarus, with a regime which is not stable. It's not democracy, and so I guess it would be disaster if Russia will annex Belarus. It will be disaster for Lithuanian foreign policy. And other thing, the last thing, but not the least, is Ostrovets nuclear plant, which is like not far away from Vilnius, capital of Lithuania, and we do not trust in Rosatom specialists.
We have a question on that from Dr. Kurt Geisert, and he wants to know, does the result of the elections change the attitude of Lithuania towards Belarus?
No. I guess we will take harder position on Belarus, and I think that we'll try to attract more or to include more European Union in this process, and I'm talking not only about democracy process in Belarus, but also about Australia's nuclear plant project.
When we talk about energy questions and the nuclear plant, there's also Nord Stream 2.
Yes.
And this is something that Lithuanians are also not very happy about.
No.
Is it possible that you voice, or your new government voices this concern louder now towards the European Union, towards Germany?
I guess yes, and all the time Lithuania was kind of loud critical of this project, but still Poland was holding the flag of anti-Nord Stream. On the other hand, we know it's left only 160 kilometers and the project will be done, and I don't think that German government will stop it, or somehow I guess German government will continue and it will work.
But Lithuanians are not happy about it?
No.
Another topic that's on the schedule at the moment is the rule of law.
Yes.
And we see other countries in the east of Europe that are kind of blocking. But where do you see your role in the Baltics? Like, is that something that you leave to the Visegrad people and say, like, we are the Baltics, we are completely different? What is Lithuanian position on rule of law?
Well, I guess it's a complicated position because we pretend to have a strategical partnership with Poland. And in this government, especially Prime Minister Saulius Skvernelis, who speaks Polish well, was having very good relations with Polish part, which is not very good. With a Polish Prime Minister and Polish governmental party, which was criticized very much from Brussels. At the same time, our President Gitanas Nausėda also have this already made or have personal relations with Polish President, but so it's complicated not to be for rule of law and at the same time to be friends with Poland, which is very important for our security, economy, and so on. Now, I guess, it depends on new foreign minister, on the relations with the president, and so on. But still, I think that now Lithuania will be more supportive for rule of law, because those three ladies, they are liberals, and they pay big attention to such things like rule of law.
And also, like when it comes to who's representing Lithuania, you said you always send Gitanas Nausėda to the summit. You also have a very young commissioner.
Yes.
For agriculture here in Brussels now, and in the beginning everybody was like, okay, he's a youngster, he's only 29 years old. Let's have a look what he can do, and also with Franz Timmermans he has a big vice president ahead of him. But now he's really trying to get out in his own way. Now he was cycling to Luxembourg to raise awareness on environmental topics, etc. What is how do you follow, or how do Lithuanians follow his rule, because he's kind of the Lithuanian commissioner? Is that important that you have an own commissioner and that you can?
Yes, it's important that we have European Commissioner, and just one thing, the portfolio is not very interesting for Lithuanians. And if we look at the polls of Eurostat or other companies, you will see that most Europeans think that the first important thing is environment, climate change, and so on. And in Lithuania society, it thinks like this topic is in the 5th place or something, so it's not priority. Anyway, commissioner came from this farmer party, and maybe after already 4 years, he will come back and will come back to Lithuanian political fighting.
So tonight we will have a summit, a virtual summit,
yes,
where we talk about Corona crisis in Europe, but also we are ahead of the US election. So what I found interesting while living in Lithuania myself was that you're very pro-European, but on the other hand, all the young Lithuanians I ever met, they all did work and travel in the US, not somewhere in Europe. And also your favorite sport in Lithuania, it's not soccer like it's used to be in Europe, yes, it's basketball, also very American. So looking forward to the US elections, is that kind of important to Lithuanians?
Yes, especially on Facebook, always discuss. Well, at Facebook, in my Facebook bubble, where I have experts, journalists, politicals, and so on, at first it was parliament election main topic. Now I see like election in the United States are coming back. So yes, and we are kind of pro-Americans, and I'm not well. How? I guess your question was, does Lithuania support Trump?
No,
we have
but that's a good question also.
We have in this same as in this parliament, we had a parliament group for supporting Trump. And what is interesting, in that group, I guess two candidates, possible candidates for the foreign minister, are in this group.
Okay, so we might see a new Minister of Foreign Affairs that is very strict against Belarus, but also very pro-Trump.
We'll see.
Okay, we'll see. Thank you so much, Evaldas, for having all this interesting information. Thank you so much for listening and taking part in this event. I will kindly inform you that there is a new event on Europe Has Voted. So the next country within Europe will be Romania, having elections on the 6th of December. So you will have this event on the 8th of December, also here in der Landesvertretung Hessen in Brussels. So stay tuned, and there are more upcoming events that you can follow. You'll see now on the slide.